Tasmania, a rugged and majestic island, an ancient landscape, an island of unique experiences, and home to the Australian Three Peaks race, a race combining the two disciplines of running and sailing. Starting at Beauty Point in northern Tasmania, sailing to Flinders Island, down the east coast of Tasmania to Coles Bay, and completing the final ascent of Mount Wellington in Hobart, this is a race of endurance. Moment to say goodbye, and one of Australia's toughest endurance events, the Three Peaks race, starts its 15th year in bright sunshine, carnival activity and light winds on the Tamar River, northern Tasmania. Fastest race overall winner API Mersey Pharmacy is again this year the crew everyone is looking out for.
I think they've got the runners on the board. I think they're going to be very competitive. I mean, their runners are looking pretty fit, so, you know, they're reasonably quick on the water and they're just as quick on the land, so I think, you know, you've got to have the package.
Thousands of spectators turn out at Beauty Point Wharf to witness the start of what should be a gruelling 4-day event. Enjoyment the key.
A glass of wine and satay from the Moores Hill.
Probably the feature of the day for us is the sail past of the old traditional wooden boats.
A lot of boats and a lot of excitement, I think. It's a beautiful day for it.
A 2 o'clock race start, so there's plenty of time to soak up the atmosphere, gourmet food stalls and take in the Tamar Valley. The Tamar River meanders for 58 kilometres through the heart of high-yielding vineyard country and scenic pastures from Launceston to Bass Strait. The Tamar Valley is a major cool climate wine-producing region, specialising in Pinot and Riesling varieties. Immerse yourself in the attractions and nature reserves in the Tamar Valley. Visit Seahorse World and the Platypus House at race start, Inspection Head Wharf. Beauty Point was developed as a deep water port to service the nearby Beaconsfield gold mines. Relics remain as an attraction. The Lowhead Pilot Station, built in 1805, houses a maritime museum, and at the mouth of the Tamar is the landmark Lowhead Lighthouse. Here, the yachts will turn east and head for Flinders Island. It's apparent as the 15th Three Peaks race gets underway, it's going to be a gentle affair. The prevailing breeze barely filling a sail. Not the conditions defending champions API Mersey Pharmacy wanted.
A little bit light for us, but who knows what we get out there. But every race does seem to have different conditions. We'll get wind somewhere on the course, you can bet you.
It's not long before Mersey Pharmacy's oars are out, giving them about 2 knots, well, at least for the first 5 minutes. Since the Australian Three Peaks race inception in 1989, when 30 boats competed, Nick Edmonds has sailed in every race and has taken his monohull haphazard to a victory. So today's light winds are not all bad news.
The cats won't take off on us as quick as they would with strong winds. Yeah, it looks like a lot of southeast in it and not a lot of it, so we just have to put the suntan lotion on and stick with it, I think.
People stretch along the West Tamar shoreline to catch a sight unique to the Three Peaks race. State-of-the-art yachts making their way by oar or pedal power. The crew from Zab Window Fashions, previously the youngest team to compete, then surprising the more experienced crews, this year keen to tackle the first peak, Mount Strzelecki, and its 65-kilometre run.
It's supposed to be a running race, isn't it?
For the fully crewed yachts, all they can do is sit and wait.
We're not allowed any outside assistance. What about the engines? Can't do it. Not in the fully crewed.
The race, renowned for its test of stamina and skill, will prove to be more enduring than any of the competitors can possibly imagine. As the yachts near low head, the wind begins to pick up with a sea breeze. The 30-foot catamaran Ostchoice first to fill its sails to clear the heads. Hot on its heels, Nick Edmonds with haphazard, and API Mersey Pharmacy making ground, hoping to snare a hat-trick of 3 consecutive race wins. The non-stop Three Peaks race heads out of the Tamar estuary. The runners hope to rest and not get seasickness as the yachts begin the 90 nautical mile sailing leg east to Lady Barron Township on Flinders Island. Checking the leaders board at the 4 p.m 'Sked, API Mersey Pharmacy with runners Nigel Aylett and Andrew Cromer in the lead. Second position, Ozchoice, runners Mark Guy and Paul Mackenzie. And in third, Smart Reading with Ian Berry and Rick Ferguson set for the Mount Strzelecki run. Flinders Island, situated off the northeastern tip of Tasmania, is the second leg of the race. The residents and visitors of the island will get to see the yachts come into Lady Barron Township and then the run on the roads leading to and from the 756-metre peak of Mount Strzelecki. It was expected to be a slow, long crossing to Flinders Island for the competitors, but when API Mersey Pharmacy runners Nigel Aylett and Andrew Cromer appeared out of the darkness just after 3:30, the defending champions showed they were right on track.
It ended up getting reasonable winds the whole way, so just that first row out of the harbour, and then it's a bit light just on dusk, but good conditions and nice and smooth, not much wave, so no real problem with seasickness or time.
But problems with the Chamberlain Cat, the shallows of Franklin Sound taking a chunk out of the portside daggerboard.
Heck of a lot of grief. Didn't we? No, not quite as deep as we thought. And we had, unfortunately, full boards down. And yeah, I went from one end of the cockpit into the backstay. Got my nose. We did stop in a hurry.
Next in was fellow cat Ozchoice. The fast, lightweight catamaran and crew have definite potential to win. Leading them out of the Tamar River, API Mersey Pharmacy chased them down and passed them in the early evening, giving their runners first crack at Mount Strzelecki.
One more minute, not too fast.
Yeah. Just left the drinks and that there. About 40 minutes behind them, but I will do our best. They gradually caught us. They were going a bit quicker than us when it was lighter, and then we kind of held them pretty much once the wind came back in. And I know I was down below. I was having a bit of a rest.
And the game plan for the run?
Just get out there and just have a go. You know, it's a long way to go. See how we go.
Although the race is highly competitive, in its 15th year there's become an atmosphere of camaraderie and sportsmanship between the competitors. By now, API Mersey Pharmacy's runners were about to disappear along the coastal bush track at Badger Corner. Mark Guy and Paul Mackenzie had some distance to make up.
Yes, perfect position there.
It was daylight before the first monohull, Haphazard, arrived at Lady Barron just after 6:15. But the runners were frustrated as they took their turn, stuck on the sand.
The boys were a bit tired, they wanted to spell for a bit.
In the fully crewed division, hydro wind power with runners Lloyd Phoebe and Paul Snare arrived. Lloyd, a veteran.
This is 13.
Fully rested and with their boats' names painted on the back of their heads, they're ready for a full-on charge of Mount Strzelecki.
If we're in that big a mess when we get back, at least someone will know what boat we're on.
What to go with that? About half empty. Yeah, what else? Get rid of that.
As the Haphazard runners, David Wright and Sam Thompson, were preparing themselves for the leg-jarring assault on Mount Strzelecki, API Mersey Pharmacy runners, Andrew Cromer and Nigel Aylett, had run the coast road and were back at Lady Barron Wharf, where the locals were gathering to glimpse the race. Not only being in the lead, Cromer and Aylett set the fastest time for Strzelecki. The light winds persisting saw the monohulls rowing to the wharf. By now, the majority of the running teams were underway. Smart Reading arriving at 10:43, with Balmoral on York only 1 hour 8 minutes later. Flinders Island community groups putting on lunch in the wharf shed draws a crowd. Next to arrive back at Lady Baron, the runners from Ozchoice, Paul Mackenzie and Mark Guy. Mackenzie showing the strain of the 65-kilometre run, the longest single distance to run for the 3 legs. Ozchoice lost a further 22 minutes to the leaders on the run, setting off on leg 2 for Coles Bay, just over 1 hour behind. Haphazard still holding third, but trailing by almost 4 hours.
Box, waterproof match. You got yours, and waterproof match. Yep. And then got pencils. Got your map. Look at my watch.
A thorough check of safety gear by race marshals, and the Smart Reading runners, Ian Berry and Rick Ferguson, head off for Strzelecki. Headaches were starting to appear for the race organisers. 2 yachts directed to motor sail to Lady Baron after being becalmed 50 nautical miles out. Because of heavy breaking seas, race director Alistair Douglas banned the fleet from taking an easterly course through the treacherous Potboil, adding another 20 nautical miles sailing out to the west, rounding Cape Barren Island and heading for the east coast of Tasmania. Those light winds since race start at Beauty Point continue to plague the fleet, invoking decisions under the race rules to allow all competitors to motor sail to Eddystone Point, putting the fleet back on time for the second leg to Coles Bay. The leaders board on the second day at the 4:30pm sked. First place API Mersey Pharmacy with runners Nigel Aylott and Andrew Cromer. In second, Ozchoice, and holding third position Haphazard with runners David Wright and Sam Thompson. After a strangely dramatic night at sea, 2 of the top 3 yachts are out of the Three Peaks race, leaving API Mersey Pharmacy, Underwater Video Systems and Antarctic Adventure now in the top 3.
Ozchoice had a bit of a problem with their gearbox, and Haphazard are doing the noble thing and towing them back to the Tamer. But the runners from Haphazard, who had run the Strzelecki run, were very keen to keep doing it, so they're now on hydro wind power, and they're going to come and run anyway.
Shadowed by the hazards, Coles Bay is a stunning location for legs 3 and 4, with a 33-kilometre run for competitors to circuit the peninsula and views of Tasmania's east coast jewel, Wineglass Bay. Volunteers from the small Coles Bay holiday community proud to play host to the Hydro Tasmania Three Peaks race.
As what I regard as the quintessential Tasmanian event. It combines 3 very special characteristics of the state. First of all, our extraordinary environment.
An environment with very little wind and flat seas, leaving the yachts becalmed on the run down the east coast of Tasmania.
Picture postcard conditions. I lived on Flinders Island for 26 years and I've never seen Bass Strait so calm.
The protracted light winds soon causing frustration for race organisers. The race becoming the slowest in Three Peaks history.
10 o'clock this morning, we had API Mersey Pharmacy off St Mary's, followed by Underwater Video Systems. We flew out of Lady Baron about 8:30 this morning. Bass Strait was like a mill pond, slight bit of wind, about 5 knots east of Eddystone Point, and the boats were heading slowly down towards Bishana. We wouldn't expect them here before 6 p.m, but could go later into the evening before the first boat, which we again expect to be API Mersey Pharmacy. There might be a breeze come up this afternoon, there may not. Don't know. It's sailing.
At last, At 5:20 in the afternoon, a sail appears on the Tasman Sea off Cape Tourville.
I can see API Mersey Pharmacy out there, and it looks to me like they're doing about 3 nights. There'd be about 30 miles to travel, so another night time finish, yes, about 5 hours from now I reckon to get from here.
It's going to be a long night for family, friends and the race volunteers. A real concern for the organisers, how many days is the race going to take?
Well, golly, if we haven't got everybody through the mountain by then, we've got something.
Yeah, we do.
We've got a problem.
They're never going to finish.
Examine it.
The race committee meeting to discuss options to speed the race along.
But it's probably better that we talk to them, have a meeting with them here. But one of the difficulties is really going to be working out results.
The stillness of the night broken by a very welcome crackle from the marine radio.
This is Coles Bay Race Control out.
Finally, at 2:30 the next morning, with Great Oyster Bay and Mill Pond, API Mersey Pharmacy rose into view. It's taken them more than 15 hours longer than last year.
Our day's been this interspersed with a few spots of nice sailing.
The Coles Bay running leg is around half the distance of Strzelecki.
Head torch. On top, yeah. Spare batteries. Yeah, batteries there. So organised.
But Nigel Aylett describes it as not the longest, but the toughest run, especially at night. Getting to Coles Bay meant a lot of waiting and plenty of rowing.
Probably helps as long as you don't overdo it, because it sort of gives you a bit of exercise, gets the blood flowing around, helps a bit of recovery from the previous run.
Time now to set a good pace.
Hopefully go reasonably solidly so we can get out of here, hopefully if possible even before the next boat gets in.
Aylett and Cromer covering the distance in just over 4.5 hours and a feed of fish and chips.
Yep. That's been a great run by those runners overnight. Well done, guys.
API Mersey Pharmacy leaves Coles Bay, albeit under manpower, before her nearest challenger arrives. For family, friends and curious onlookers gathering before 8 o'clock, it's going to be another long day.
Our slowest sailing overall was in 1990. And if they keep continuing at this pace, I'd say that they'll be well and truly break that record, which is a record that we don't really want broken because it's a long time out on the water for them.
The runners from Haphazard on board. Haphazard, of course, turned back.
Next to tie up, Three Peaks veteran Hydro Wind Power with runners Steve Bence and Aaron Tidy. Aaron's making his Freycinet debut.
Looking forward to it, yeah, great challenge, can't wait.
Being Aaron's first run, the team is looking to do the Freycinet leg in a comfortable 5.5 hours. For Steve, this is the nicest running leg of the three. Next into Coles Bay is Balmoral on York, the crew paddling the heavyweight into third place.
We've been rowing for 2 days. A couple of hours now. But mainly to try and stay in front of these wider boats.
The bulk of the fleet arrives for the Coles Bay running leg by mid-afternoon, but the sail down the east coast is painfully slow.
Oh, it's just started going again. We've had a pretty slow night. We've hooked up kelp a few times.
A certain finish in the dark on the Coles Bay leg for the runners, and the final sailing leg for most underway to Hobart before midnight.
This time last year we were down off Mariah on our way to Hobart.
The leaders board. In first position, API Mersey Pharmacy. In position 2, Balmoral on York, gaining second place with the retirement of Hydro Wind Power at Coles Bay. And third position, Antarctic Adventure, runners Jackie Guy and David Rose. The final leg of the Hydro Tasmania Three Peaks race continues from Coles Bay, down Tasmania's east coast, rounding Tasman Island and into Hobart.
I can see API Mersey Pharmacy out there. I can see the oars flashing through the binoculars, so they're obviously rowing up the river. There's no wind whatsoever where they are. They must have rowed half the course, I reckon, this race. There wouldn't have been anyone rowed like that since the days of the whaling ships, I reckon.
First to arrive, API Mersey Pharmacy. Cromer and Aylott keen to tackle Mount Wellington and obtain a third consecutive win.
We enjoy the mountain running, so see how it goes on this one. Go. It's quite a nice run up through the sort of tracks and things, this one. Well, it's a steep up and a steep down, so it's hard on the legs. They're all hard runs. Strzelecki is a long run. Freycinet is a tough track, so this is a good way to finish it though.
Aylott and Cromer are well on their way to the summit of Mount Wellington on another night run. The fickle light winds have caused the 330-mile sail to be a marathon, with boats now expected to arrive later tonight and well into tomorrow.
It gets very tiring out there. It's probably hard to work when it's quiet, because you're trying to make the boat sail. When it won't sail, then you've got to row it. So we'd spend a couple of hours sleeping and then come up on deck and take it in turns. So not much time for sitting reading the paper.
After 4 days, 5 hours and 27 minutes, API Mersey Pharmacy again proves to be a class above the rest. Runners Nigel Aylott and Andrew Cromer set a blistering time on the Mount Wellington 33-kilometre running leg, stripping more than a minute from the old race record of 2 hours and 27 minutes.
It's a pretty tough record after doing 100 plus kilometres of off-road running. It's tough.
Other competitors continue to arrive throughout the night.
31 hours I think we were at sea for, so we're stoked to be on our feet again.
Pedalling for hours today to get here.
Zab Window Fashion's runners Mark Wrigley, a first-time runner on this leg, and Rod Barnes compete in the Australian Three Peaks race because it's something to do over Easter.
Well, I don't want to be sitting at home watching TV. Get feet up. We'll do that tomorrow. Now you can't mention it, that does sound like a good idea.
With the race director closing Denison Canal at Dunalley to all competitors due to sandbars, the valuable time saver is lost. All boats must round Tasman Island and call a beam of the Iron Pot.
We've got you, beam of Iron Pot at 12:17, over.
Yeah, thanks Alistair. I don't know what time we'll be up the river, mate, but we'll get there as quick as we can. Over.
I think that's what you've been trying to do all the way.
The team from the beach rated this Three Peaks race as the hardest the event has seen.
It's just so steep and it goes on forever. After the sailing legs we had the oars up through the lulls and rowing. It's just very hard.
And not something anyone was prepared for.
No? How do you prepare for that? I think we must have rowed about somewhere between 30 and 50 nautical miles, I reckon, overall.
I'm here to run. I'm meant to just get on the boat, sleep and eat and run.
It was day 5 and the last yacht in the fleet, Iron Overload, a vintage 40-foot ketch, arrived at 3:20. Its runners, Julie Quinn, Gary Lilly and David Baldwin from the ACT, keen to bring this year's Hydro Tasmania Three Peaks race to a close.
It's been another great race and it certainly set a whole series of new records. Slow certainly, but the Hydro Tasmania Three Peaks race can all be guaranteed to turn out something new.
And for Iron Overload skipper Ben Maris, the Australian Three Peaks race simply sounded like a good idea.
And the more we thought about it, the more sort of magnetic the idea became. It's such a good race. Yeah. It's a terrific event.
Governor at least, I'll be crewing next year as you do.
Ha 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 ha!